Ikuto Hoenn thought getting shipwrecked was the worst thing that could happen, until he woke up on an island full of girls who haven't seen a guy in forever. Now he's getting chased by thirsty girls and is living every rom-com protagonist's nightmare, as these ladies treat personal space like it's a myth and chase him around like he's the last pizza slice at a party. The story starts with the main character falling off a ship in the middle of a horrible storm. The captain on board said it's impossible to save anyone in such bad conditions. He called for help, but they left, not realizing the boy was still struggling in the waves. The boy didn't want to give up. He tried all he could, but a big wave came out of nowhere and swept him to the depths of the sea. Now let me introduce you to another lucky guy who didn't deserve his luck. Ikuto Hoenn was actually on the run from home, but as you've seen, a storm was sent his way to stop him like that Bible character Jonah. But unlike Jonah, he didn't wake up in the bell of a fish. He woke up on an island full of just women, and as he opened his eyes, a girl was planting her lips on his face. This lucky cow woke up as the only guy on an island full of women. All he had to do was clap cheeks, but being the #1 upheld virgin, he had other plans. By morning, a girl with a soft look and a tiny pig that looks like it came straight out of the game Angry Birds was on her head. They went fishing by an island. Her fishing hook catches the boy, who is now unconscious. She tries to wake him up by giving him CPR, but she pumped too much air into him and he deflated around like a balloon. She rushes him to the village elder for help. The old lady checks him, and soon the other girls on the island gather, filled with curiosity. The elder confirms he's a boy, and the girls react with shock, but she keeps them at bay. When the boy wakes up, he panics upon seeing the girl, remembering her attempt to revive him with a kiss. Later, he introduces himself as Akuto. The girl says her name is Suzu. The elder interrupts and explains the island's history, narrating that over 160 years ago, there was a shipwreck, and survivors settled on this island, Aaron 2. Akuto is confused and thinks he's still in Tokyo. The elder suggests Akuto stay with Suzu. On the way to her house, another girl, Ayane, Suzu's rival, appears. She warns Akuto that Suzu's home is messy. Suzu denies it, but Ayane tries to attack her. She fails, falling to the ground, but later shoots a dart that misses Suzu and hits Akuto instead. At Suzu's house, she gives Akuto a remedy that tastes like horseshoe, and he recovers. She tells him she lives alone, but it's not a problem. That evening, while taking a bath, Suzu joins him, making Akuto embarrassed. Suzu scrubs his back and asks him to do hers, but his mind can't waver off her nice curves, and he runs away, while having the virgin's reaction, a nosebleed. Suddenly, Ayane appears out of the water with her chest that's flatter than an ironing board. She was offering to scrub Akuto's back, and it led to a fight between the girls. Later, Akuto goes to rest, but Suzu can't find him in his bed. Instead, there's a giant turnip. It turns out Ayane has kidnapped Akuto with her giant ostrich. Ren, another girl, stops her and tries to bring Akuto to her house, but her circuits fried while she was trying to get the words out of her mouth. Yukino, riding a bear, surprises Akuto. He calls her a kid, which annoys her, so she demands a date to make up for it. This sparks another fight between Ren and Yukino. Akuto escapes the girl fight and walks around the village, but all the girls watch him with hungry eyes. Machi, another girl, tries to kidnap him but is stopped by another girl with darts. This sets off a chain reaction where all the girls attack Akuto. Suzu steps in, reminding them the elder asked her to take care of him. Realizing he's the only man on the island, Akuto decides to escape. He builds a boat, and the girls bid him farewell. Suzu tells the elder they should warn him it's impossible to leave. Sure enough, Akuto's boat gets caught in a whirlpool and brought back. The elder explains escape is hopeless. Furious, Akuto tries again, repeating the process until he spots a gap between whirlpools. He sails through, but faces a shark-like creature. Akuto fights it, but the creature throws him into the water. Suzu rescues him, explaining the creature was protecting him from an even worse danger ahead. He thanked the big fish, and as his head settled, he took one look at the beauty sitting next to him and realized that what she was wearing, see-through which caused his nose to bleed and the virgin passed out. Suzu tells Akuto about something that happened 12 years ago. Back then, a massive wave hit and swept all the men out to sea, taking their ships with them. She explains it was caused by a special storm that only comes once every 100 years. By the time that weather returns, Akuto would be too old to try escaping. He gives up and decides to stay on the island for now. That night, as he's trying to sleep, Ayane kidnaps him again. Suzu fights her off and throws her far away, but the commotion draws all the other girls. The old lady shows up saying it's just their hormones up and about the place. She then announces a tournament will be held the next day to decide who will become Akuto's girlfriend. The next morning, all the girls gather for the tournament, but Akuto refuses. He doesn't want to be treated like a prize or marry anyone. The old lady suggests he marry all of them, but Akuto proposes a race instead. If he escapes without being caught, he won't have to marry anyone. The race begins, and Akuto runs as fast as he can. Suzu releases her flying pig, Tonkatsu, which causes a distraction and makes the girls stumble. As the race goes on, Akuto hides, but Ren and Ayane find him. Suzu steps in to stop them and declares herself his protector. Akuto runs into another girl who says she doesn't want to marry him, but needs him for her research. She tries to catch him with a rope, but Suzu foils her plan. The chase continues, with Suzu removing the other girls from the race one by one. Akuto leaps off a cliff and lands on the other side just in time. There, he meets a girl named Machi, who offers to help him climb up. Instead, Akuto jumps into a river, only to fall down a massive waterfall. Suzu jumps in after him to save him, but they are separated. Taka, riding her giant bird, swoops in to grab Akuto. She claims this will make everyone see her as an adult. Akuto escapes and falls into the eastern forest, a place the old lady calls dangerous. In the forest, Akuto realizes the plants are carnivorous and tries to eat him. Suddenly he hears giant footsteps. A panda appears, looking harmless at first, but quickly turning into a ferocious beast. Suzu arrives just in time to stop it. She offers her hand to help Akuto, but he hesitates, thinking she's still competing. The panda returns to attack, and Akuto steps in to protect Suzu, getting flung into the air. The other girls spot Akuto and chase him again. He climbs a tree, but the girls fall asleep. Ayane tries to shoot him with a dart, but Suzu arrives and confronts her. Ayane claims she hasn't touched Akuto yet because she wants to see his face when he loses. Akuto escapes again, and Ayane mistakenly grabs a giant turnip instead of him, falling off a cliff. The old lady declares Ayane has lost. That night, the old lady announces Suzu as the winner because Akuto accidentally touched her sizable bosom while saving her from the panda. Suzu, however, refuses to claim him as a prize. All the girls surround Akuto, each asking him for a date after Suzu said she'd only marry someone she has the hots for. Akuto starts his day washing his face, and Suzu offers him breakfast. He feels like he's living a married life, which amuses him. While sorting through his things, Suzu finds his phone and gets curious. She wonders how interesting it would be to have one. Later, Suzu heads out to fetch water, and Akuto insists on helping her, but when he tries to carry the buckets, they're far too heavy for him. Ren suddenly shows up, carrying a massive jar with ease, and Suzu points out that Ren is the strongest on the island. This annoys Akuto, so he grabs the water buckets and tries to carry them himself. He ends up tripping and spilling everything. Ren's little sister appears, scolding Akuto and dragging Ren away, while warning him to stay out of her sister's business. Later, Suzu is doing laundry, while Akuto continues failing at simple chores. You'd wonder why he was running from home. The boy is useless. Despite his mistakes, Suzu doesn't get upset, and even offers him a glass of water. Suzu then heads to the fields for work, and Akuto insists on tagging along to help. When they start working, he realizes the tasks are way harder than he expected. He struggles to pick vegetables because they're massive, but Suzu corrects him, explaining they're actually the smaller ones. When it's time to shear cotton balls, he messes up and ends up getting smacked around by them. Serves him right. On their way home, they run into Yukino, a girl who can talk to animals. She reminds Suzu to pick some mushrooms. Akuto takes on the task but quickly regrets it when he's attacked by a mushroom-like creature. It swallows him but spits him back out. Determined, Akuto keeps trying to pick the right mushrooms, but he keeps getting eaten by the aggressive ones. The girls laugh, saying he'll never figure out which mushrooms are safe. Akuto is frustrated and tries again and again, only to fail each time. This leaves him feeling useless and down. In the forest, Ren finds Akuto sulking and boldly suggests he become her husband. Their moment is interrupted when Yukino throws a giant worm at Ren, scaring her off. Akuto steps in and gently handles the worm, showing kindness. Suzu sees this from a distance and smiles, touched by Akuto's small act of bravery. At sunset, Akuto tells Suzu she's incredible and admits he feels like a burden to her. Suzu, however, reassures him. She shares that she's the only person on the island who lives alone and says she's happy to have him around because it makes her feel like she has a family. Akuto felt a little better and walked back home with Suzu. In the morning, Ayane munches on some cookies but suddenly notices a note warning her not to eat them. She panics and starts yelling. Meanwhile, Akuto and Suzu are struggling to carry massive turnips up a hill. Theo, scared of heights, runs off, leaving them to handle the load. Suzu decides to deliver the turnip to the temple herself. Out of nowhere, Machi, Ayane's older sister, appears. Suzu asks about their mother, and Machi mentions that she's in the kitchen baking cupcakes. Suzu gets excited, talking about how tasty they are, and Machi promises them 20 cupcakes if they find her younger sister. When they track down Ayane, she refuses to go back with Machi. Instead, she offers Suzu 30 cupcakes if they uncover Machi's weakness. Determined, Ayane tries asking every girl on the island, but no one knows what Machi's weak spot could be. Suzu shows up and tells Ayane that Machi's weakness must be something that deeply affects her. Ayane starts doubting herself, wondering how someone older and unmarried could have a weakness. Suddenly, Machi overhears the conversation, gets furious, and storms off. Before Ayane can figure anything out, she is attacked by a spirit that Machi summons in anger. Back at home, Suzu accidentally breaks a statue and immediately panics, thinking she's cursed. Akuto, not realizing the significance, turns the broken piece into a makeshift weapon and reassures Suzu there's nothing to worry about. But as they continue their day, the statue's eyes begin to glow ominously. Later at dinner, Suzu asks Akuto if he's afraid of ghosts or anything supernatural. He confidently says he doesn't believe in what he can't see. Just then, a ghost appears outside their house, startling Suzu. The next day, while collecting water, Suzu clings tightly to Akuto, clearly shaken from the experience. All the other girls offer Suzu a place to stay, but she refuses, saying ghosts are just made-up stories to scare children. Ayane shows up and, wanting to tease Suzu, claims she can see a ghost possessing her. Suzu gets annoyed and tells Ayane to leave. That night, Ayane sneaks into Suzu's house trying to scare her. Inside, Suzu opens up to Akuto, sharing how lonely she felt after moving out on her own and how it made her afraid of everything. Akuto comforts her, promising to stay by her side. Outside, Ayane encounters the ghost and faints. Akuto comes out to help and realizes the ghost is standing behind Suzu. Instead of being scared, Akuto calmly tells Suzu the ghost isn't harmful and might just be lonely. The ghost, touched by his words, thanks him and vanishes. Suzu tells Akuto she won't fear ghosts anymore as long as he stays with her. The next day, Yukino's pet gobbles up the jam, and Yukino jokingly warns it, saying that it might end up estranged as Suzu because of the cupcakes. Suzu is off fishing, and Akuto was lost in thought about his life and whether his parents worry about him. Out of nowhere, Yukino falls from above and lands hard on Akuto. Panicking, Suzu tries to help and gives Akuto mouth-to-mouth resuscitation. He wakes up coughing, while Yukino regains consciousness thanks to her pets. She explains she tripped because she was too distracted by her thoughts. Suzu and Yukino start talking to the animals in different languages Akuto can't follow, which leaves him confused. The animals see Yukino as an older sister and start acting like humans, even writing on paper to communicate. They ask Suzu and Akuto about their feelings for each other, and both admit they share something special. Together, they decide to search for Yukino's missing pet. Yukino hops onto Akuto's shoulders to get a better view, and they continue on their way. While following some footprints that might lead to Yukino's pet, the group gets ambushed and beaten up. They quickly realize they found the wrong creature and move on. The search leads them to countless animals that resemble Yukino's pet, but none are the one they're looking for. Exhaustion sets in as the day drags on, and Akuto grows frustrated, thinking all the girls on the island only care about themselves. During a break, Yukino confesses that she scolded her pet for eating her honey, which might have caused it to run away. She grows emotional, recalling how they've been together since she was 6 and have shared many adventures. Her connection with the pet has helped her bond with other animals. Hearing her sadness, Akuto becomes more determined than ever to find the missing pet. As they resume their search, Suzu gets alerted by other animals about a dangerous threat nearby. She throws a strange fruit to distract it. Meanwhile, Ayane appears again, trying to provoke Suzu into a fight. Suzu calmly tells Ayane she'll deal with her later and focuses on the task at hand. Frustrated, Ayane jumps around aimlessly until one of the animals slaps her, knocking her out. The animals declare their loyalty to Suzu and promise to protect her as the group moves forward. Akuto continues searching tirelessly, though he keeps running into a bear that attacks him repeatedly. Yukino, feeling hopeless, says they might never find her pet, but Akuto's determination only grows stronger. A squirrel-like creature finally gives them a lead, claiming to have seen the pet. They follow its directions and reach a broken bridge. While trying to cross, Yukino slips and breaks part of the bridge, causing them all to fall. Just when things seem grim, the broken bridge begins to rise. Clinging tightly, they realize Yukino's pet is lifting them from the other side. Yukino embraces her pet, relieved to have it back. One morning, the island shakes violently as the volcano rumbles like it's about to erupt. The next day, Akuto is busy training to protect Suzu from the island's beasts, but Suzu calmly tells him the women here are used to defending themselves. She decides to give him some tasks to toughen him up. One of these is carrying a massive pink vegetable, which proves far too heavy for him. Even though Suzu can carry 10 of them with ease, Akuto refuses to quit. While they're working, the volcano suddenly rumbles again. Suzu panics, and the two of them run off. Later, at the bathhouse at the top of the island, Suzu gets ready to bathe but screams when she finds the tub completely dry. Ren steps in to help fetch water, while Yukino chops firewood for the bonfire. After all the hard work, the girls sit together, drinking tea and discussing the water shortage. They wonder if the volcano's activity might be causing it. The thought of not being able to bathe makes them all sad. Akuto interrupts their chat and suggests cleaning with wet towels instead. This idea upsets the girls, who are already worried about the bathhouse situation. Determined to help, Akuto decides to investigate the volcano. Early the next morning, he begins his climb to the summit. Strong winds try to knock him down, but Yukino's bird helps him stay steady. Suzu and Ren soon join him, and they all head to a well near the top. Akuto and Suzu descend into the well, noticing that the water source seems blocked. Akuto starts digging, but when he moves a large rock, the ground shakes. Ren and Yukino try to pull them out, but the floor collapses, and Akuto and Suzu fall deeper into the well. Despite the fall, Akuto doesn't give up. He helps Suzu stand, but she winces in pain, her foot injured. Without hesitation, he carries her on his back, continuing through the dark tunnel. As they go deeper, they notice sunlight shining through a small opening and find hot water pooling on the ground. They realize the water supply to the bathhouse is being blocked by a mound of dirt. Akuto grabs a shovel and starts digging. Suddenly, he uncovers a red-eyed sea monster hidden in the pile. The creature stirs, and Akuto's shovel breaks. The dirt collapses, releasing a massive surge of water that fills the tunnel. The current sweeps Suzu away, but Akuto grabs her just in time. As they're carried by the rushing water, they see the sea monster swimming beneath them. In a wild turn of events, they are thrown out of the volcano with the water, landing safely on solid ground. Suzu bursts into tears, overwhelmed with relief that they're unharmed. The water problem is finally solved, and the bathhouse will have enough water for everyone on the island again. Suzu and Akuto walk through the southern forest. They are heading to meet Suzu's martial arts master. Akuto thinks her trainer might be an animal, but Suzu says it's the Lord of the Forest. Suddenly, a deep voice calls out to Suzu. When Akuto looks, he sees a cat. He teases the cat, and it slaps him. The master explains they are there for the Survival Day game, where the dog and cat tribes compete to decide the Lord of the South. Akuto learns each part of the island has a lord: north, east, west, and south. He realizes he still has a few lords left to meet. The master asks Akuto to represent the cat tribe because the dogs are known for their strength. The tournament begins, and both sides cheer loudly. Suzu, however, slips on a banana peel scattered on the field. The dogs attack, but Suzu and Akuto use the banana peels to make the dogs slip and fall. As they continue, Suzu opens a food container, but a group of dogs surrounds them. They manage to fight through every obstacle. Near the finish line, the leader of the dog tribe blocks their path, saying they can't win. Akuto becomes even more determined. Suddenly, Machi and Ayan appear, revealing they support the dogs. Machi says it's because Suzu and Akuto ate their food. Ayan challenges Suzu, while Machi boldly challenges Akuto, promising he can do whatever he wants if he wins. During the chaos, Ayan steps on a trap and is thrown far away. Akuto and Machi fight, marking each other's faces with paint. Meanwhile, they trick the leader of the dogs and mark his face. The dogs think they've won, but it turns out they marked a mannequin. The master sneaks in and marks the real leader's face, giving victory to the cats. Later, Ayan is punished for eating the dog's food and is made to cook for them. At Suzu's house, everyone rests. Machi invites Akuto to see the cherry blossoms. He agrees, and the group heads to the northern forest. They hear the Lord of the North is grumpy, so they split into small groups to avoid attention. Akuto is tasked with climbing a hill, even though he's afraid of heights. He pushes forward, while the others navigate rocky areas and chat about Machi's age and marriage. Suzu and Ayan bicker as they make their way through the forest. The group eventually encounters a tiger-like animal. It says it used to be the Lord of the North, but has been replaced. The tiger gives them directions to the cherry blossoms and leaves. They find a broken bridge blocking their path. Working together, they cut down a tree and create a new bridge. Akuto, feeling exhausted, complains about all the effort for a cherry blossom tree. Suzu pulls him along until they finally reach the tree. It's stunningly beautiful. Akuto regrets his earlier complaints. The group gathers under the tree for a picnic, enjoying the peaceful moment together. The chapter begins with Chikage flipping through a book, fascinated by what makes a man. Meanwhile, Akuto and Suzu head to Chikage's house, described as a beautiful structure with an oriental design. When they knock, a little voice answers, and Suzu tells Akuto it's Panako. The door opens, revealing a small elephant, and Akuto gets hit by the door's swing. Panako invites them in for tea. Suzu explains that Panako is known as the prettiest girl on the island because of her kindness. Panako, overexcited, taps Akuto on the shoulder, accidentally sending him flying across the room. Suddenly, Chikage enters, draped in only a tablecloth. Akuto looks away, embarrassed. Noticing this, she keeps changing outfits until she finds one she likes. She explains she dresses that way because books say it helps win hearts. Chikage invites Akuto and Suzu to see her secret spot. When they arrive, Akuto realizes it's an electric kitchen. Chikage bombards him with questions about the appliances, and he enjoys explaining everything. However, he eventually tells her that none of it works because the island has no electricity. Disappointed, Chikage shifts her focus and asks Akuto to stay for a meal. To keep Suzu happy, Chikage offers her favorite pastries. In the kitchen, Chikage tries to prepare a dish from outside the island, but realizes she's missing ingredients. At the table, Akuto hopes for something familiar, but the first dish is a strange burger made with local ingredients. It doesn't taste great to him, though Suzu finds it interesting. Akuto asks for a simple local meal instead, rice with curry. Chikage prepares it and Akuto finds it delicious. Suzu continues enjoying her pastries. As the day winds down, Akuto and Suzu prepare to leave, but Chikage spills octopus ink on them, forcing them to clean up. In the bathroom, Suzu and Chikage undress, leaving Akuto flustered. He leaves the room, but Chikage teases Suzu, commenting on her figure, scaring Suzu out of the bathtub. Later, when Akuto goes to bathe, Chikage spies on him. Suddenly, Panako enters to wash Akuto's back, without any hesitation. Chikage notices and invites Panako to join her in the bath. Panako jumps in, but lands directly on Chikage, flattening her. That evening, Suzu fumes at Akuto for sharing a bath with Chikage and Panako. He defends himself, saying Panako didn't realize Chikage was there and that Panako is an elephant, not a person. Suzu was still annoyed, saying she won't forgive him because he never let her bathe with him. Ren heads off to bathe, unaware someone is secretly watching. Meanwhile, Suzu's little piglet drinks water, and Akuto suddenly appears, startling Suzu. She screams, embarrassed he might have seen her. Without hesitation, she punches him hard enough to send him flying. Akuto lands headfirst on the ground, dazed, and Ren hurries over, apologizing for startling him earlier. All the while, the mysterious figure keeps observing from a distance. On their way back to the village, Akuto mentions how Ren is quite popular because people mistake her for a man. Just then, they notice someone tailing them. Ren's younger sister leaps out and hugs her. She's revealed to be the one secretly watching them all along. Turning her attention to Akuto, the sister threatens him not to cause trouble for Ren. Later, back at Suzu's house, she notices the bump on Akuto's head. He brushes it off, saying it's nothing to worry about, then mentions he plans to help Ren with her family chores. At Ren's house, the family shows their gratitude, and they all devour the food on the table in record time. Ren's grandmother advises her to act more feminine if she wants to attract Akuto as a future son-in-law. The next morning, Akuto and Suzu arrive to help Ren's family. Ren's mother introduces Akuto to everyone. Meanwhile, Ren's younger sister whispers to Suzu, suggesting something romantic might be happening between Ren and Akuto. Suzu shrugs it off until the sister adds that Akuto has already seen Ren. This surprises Suzu, since Akuto always avoided seeing her in similar situations, and she starts having doubts. Later, Ren teaches Akuto how to handle construction tasks. Akuto wonders why someone as shy as Ren dresses in such a revealing way. Suddenly, Ren cries out after accidentally hitting her finger with a hammer. Akuto rushes over to help, and a brief, awkward moment hangs between them before Ren's younger sister interrupts. Ren tries to get back to explaining the tasks, but she slips, accidentally falling onto Akuto. The situation gets even more awkward when her chest ends up near his face. Before anything can escalate, Ren's younger sister pops up again, this time attempting to sabotage Akuto outright. The constant interruptions turn into a heated rivalry between Ren's sister and Akuto. Both compete to prove who's more capable. Ren, meanwhile, takes a break to wash her face and wonders why she's been so clumsy lately. Thanks to the competition, the house they were building was completed in no time. Everyone is exhausted, but satisfied with their work. Ren's grandmother praises their efforts, and they all sit down for a meal. Ren's mother offers Akuto a drink, which he politely declines. Instead, he compliments Ren's cooking, making Suzu suspicious about their dynamic. Just as tensions rise, Ren's younger sister storms in. Armed with a watermelon, she's ready to hurl at Akuto. Suzu watches the rain fall, lost in thought, when Akuto walks by and asks what's wrong. She replies that she's just admiring the rain. Akuto tells her that if they were in his city, a rainy day like this would be a holiday because people would stay home from work. But Suzu says she prefers to work, which surprises Akuto. He mentions how bad the soup he cooked looks, but when Suzu tries it, she finds it delicious. She smiles and tells him she wants him to make it again sometime. Meanwhile, at Machi's house, she feels down because her weather prediction machines aren't working. She decides to put on a swimsuit and investigate the frogs, hoping to see them since rain brings them out. Back at Suzu's house, Akuto gets frustrated being stuck inside because of the rain. He says when it rains, he usually stays indoors to study or train. Suzu starts coming up with ideas for indoor activities. After some thinking, they decide to play shogi. Suzu grabs a board and pieces, telling Akuto that she's going to beat him. As they start the game, Suzu remembers it's the first rainy day since Akuto arrived. He wonders if the rain weakens the whirlpools, but Suzu is too focused on the game. He snaps her back to the present, reminding her it's her turn. Meanwhile, other girls are spending their time in the rain. Yukino plays with pillows and all her animal friends, while Ren tries to build a piece of furniture, but does it wrong. Her teachers get discouraged and leave. At Suzu's house, Suzu talks about how she used to play in the rain when she was younger, with her mother being her playmate. At Machi and Ayani's house, the two argue, but eventually Ayani gives Machi her favorite food, spicy balls. Machi gets back at her by playing rough games, and they end up running out of the house. Yukino is still outside in the rain with her animals, and Ren can be seen walking with an umbrella. Slowly, all the girls find each other, and Shiage is seen swimming in the river. Back at Suzu's house, she's cooking while Akuto sits, deep in thought. He wonders how lonely Suzu must feel. Suddenly, Suzu snaps Akuto out of his thoughts when she gets close to him. The door then opens, and all the girls show up to visit. They bring gifts to Suzu, understanding how lonely she must be. Chikage asks to use the bathroom, and one by one the girls decide to bathe together, undressing in front of Akuto, who is left surprised and fainting. After the girls leave, Suzu expresses her gratitude for having all her friends around. She starts singing a song her mother used to sing to her, and a memory of her mother in a wedding dress fills her mind. Akuto wonders how Suzu would look in a wedding dress, but Suzu quickly interrupts his thoughts. One night, Suzu dreams about taking a bath with Akuto. When Akuto wakes up, he hears Suzu calling his name in her sleep. He turns to see her submerged in a vase of water. He panicked and tried to wake her up and lift her out of the vase, but when he did, he noticed something shocking. The water has made her clothes completely transparent, and he can't help but react like the virgin he is. Suzu catches a cold from the ordeal, and the next morning, the elderly woman examines her. She asks Akuto to go fetch some ice while she continues taking care of Suzu. Meanwhile, a girl with a bear and a duck is scraping ice to eat with honey. When she sees Akuto, she recognizes him as the outsider and immediately throws herself at him. Akuto thinks she is Yukino's sister, but then Yukino herself appears, introducing the girl as her mother, Kagami. Yukino holds her mother back because she has brought her animals, Kumakuma and Kamo, and they have work to do. Kagami, however, explains that she just wanted to eat some sweets. Yukino tells her that she's too old for such things, which angers Kagami. But Kagami's anger disappears when she looks at Akuto. She asks him to play with her, but Akuto explains that he needs to fetch the ice that the elderly woman asked for. Yukino says she will guide him to the ice, and Kagami's animals follow them nervously. When they arrive, Akuto and Yukino see that there is no ice left. Kagami admits they ate it all, leaving only a small bowl, which Akuto says will melt on the way back. Yukino then mentions another place to get ice at the top of Mount Fuji, the highest mountain on the island. Akuto agrees to go with Yukino, but Kagami insists on joining them. Meanwhile, Machi is also craving some ice. She uses voodoo to call her sister and asks her to bring some. On Akuto's way to get the ice, he's surprised when Machi jumps onto his cart. When she gets off, she notices that her sandal is broken and sees a black cat pass by. Akuto doesn't believe in superstitions, so he continues his journey without worrying about the cat. When Ian arrives at the place where the ice should have been, she finds it's all gone, and she starts feeling her sister's presence. Her sister communicates with her using Morse code, telling her that Akuto is on his way to Mount Fuji to collect ice. Akuto and Yukino begin their trek up the mountain, and the cold quickly becomes noticeable. Yukino gets inside one of her animals to stay warm, while Ki, a childhood friend bird, flies ahead toward the summit. Upon reaching the top, Akuto realizes that they didn't actually need to reach the peak to collect snow. Yukino explains that the view is for him to enjoy, but Akuto points out that with the heavy snowfall, there's nothing to see. Yukino gets angry and starts chasing him with all her animals. Meanwhile, Ayane, another girl, is thinking about using Suzu's illness as an opportunity to attack her. But when she notices the storm at the top of the mountain, she starts to think that Akuto might freeze and sees it as a chance to warm him up with her body. Ayane calls Muro, one of her animals, and heads toward Mount Fuji. At the summit, Akuto finishes gathering as much snow as he can, even though the storm is fierce. The animals and the girls tell him to rest inside the igloo they've already made, as it's too dangerous to go back down. But Akuto refuses to rest and sets off on his own, leaving them all behind. The storm is so strong that he can barely see the path as he makes his way down, but he imagines Suzu in a bad state and starts running faster to get back to her. As he runs, he sees a sign warning of a dangerous curve. He tries to stop, but slips and falls off the cliff. Back at the summit, Yukino becomes worried about Akuto's safety and leaves the igloo to check on him. The others follow her, and soon an avalanche hits, sweeping everyone away, including Akuto. The avalanche throws them all down the cliff, carrying them to the foot of the mountain, where Machi is waiting. Akuto notices that the snow is beginning to melt. He quickly uses his jacket to make a small bag and fills it with snow. He then rushes towards Suzu's house. Kagami asks Takataka, one of her animals, to help Akuto, as he hasn't had a chance to rest. Takataka grabs Akuto and flies him towards Suzu's house. When they arrive, the elderly woman greets him, angry that he took so long. Akuto explains the situation at Mount Fuji, and when he sees Suzu fully recovered, he collapses from exhaustion. Later, Akuto falls ill from the temperature change and exhaustion. Suzu thanks him for everything he did and takes care of him, along with the elderly woman. They use the ice he brought to help him recover. At Ayane's house, she asks Machi to prepare breakfast, but Machi refuses, saying she's too hungry to do it. Machi argues that she doesn't have time since she has magic and shikami. Ayane laughs and teases her, saying that if Machi can't even handle housework, she won't be able to win over a man. This pushes Machi over the edge, and she summons Shikami to attack her sister before storming out of the house. She decides that she'll get good at household chores, so she can win someone over. Machi heads to Chi's house, where she finds Panako. She asks Chi to teach her how to cook, and Chi agrees, letting Panako leave the kitchen. They start making a mushroom puree, but Chi is incredibly messy, turning the kitchen into a disaster. Hanako walks in and sees the mess, scolding Chi for it and making her clean up. Watching this, Machi quickly decides to leave and try her luck elsewhere. Next, Machi arrives at Ren's house and asks to become her apprentice. Makoto, Ren's current apprentice, challenges Machi and tries to attack her, claiming that Ren doesn't need another apprentice. But Ren steps in and knocks Makoto out, accepting Machi as her new disciple. Machi returns home later that day, surprising her sister by popping up from the bathroom floor while Ayane is showering. She proudly shows her some food boxes she learned to make, but when Ayane opens the boxes, they're empty. Machi admits that she learned how to make the boxes, but Ayane reminds her that she was supposed to learn how to cook. The next day, Machi heads back to Ren's house, determined to learn how to cook. Ren starts teaching her how to cut fish, but Machi reveals a strange enjoyment in the task, even showing her psychopathic side. Ren, disturbed, quickly hits her to stop her from playing around. Meanwhile, Ayane, Suzu, and Akuto are talking about Machi's cooking attempts, arguing about who is the better cook between Ayane and Suzu. They try to convince Akuto to have dinner with them, but just then, an arrow arrives inviting Akuto to dinner at Machi's house. As they make their way to Machi's house, Ren suddenly appears, looking sick, and warns them not to eat Machi's food, claiming it's horrible. The group tries to escape, but Machi's animals appear and force them to go inside her house. Machi goes inside and tells them to make themselves comfortable while she prepares the food. She warns them never to enter the kitchen and leaves with a creepy laugh. The group wants to escape, but realizes they can't. Soon, they start hearing strange noises from the kitchen, and when they try to sneak a peek, Machi's animals stop them. Later, it's time to eat, and the food looks awful. None of them want to try it, so they trick Akuto into tasting it first. To their surprise, the food is delicious, and they all end up loving it. Machi proudly tells them to have seconds. When they try to leave, she opens the kitchen doors, revealing a huge mess of food everywhere. She says she prepared all this food to get their praise, and tells them they can't leave until they finish everything. Suzu is secretly preparing a cold meal for Tonkatsu's birthday. She is working hard to surprise him, trying to keep everything a secret. Just as she's finishing up, Akuto shows up, and Suzu quickly lets him in without anyone noticing. She explains what she's doing, trying to keep it all a surprise for Tonkatsu. Meanwhile, our protagonist, Akuto, is thinking about birthdays and how important they are. Tonkatsu, on the other hand, is trying to escape from a chicken coop, but is stopped by one of the chickens. This gives Suzu enough time to finish her surprise for him. At Suzu's house, Akuto is looking at a photo of himself with a girl and remembers that it's her birthday today. When Suzu appears, he quickly hides the photo in a notebook, but not very well. He then goes to check on the tofu that Suzu made. Inside the house, Suzu's tofu is too big and keeps breaking apart. Akuto tells her not to worry and promises to figure out a way to keep it in the right shape. Just then, Ayane arrives with pastries her mother made for Tonkatsu's birthday party. She also brings a separate plate for Suzu, which has chili peppers to make her uncomfortable, and allow Ayane to spend time with Akuto, trying to make him fall for her. However, Suzu refuses to eat until she finishes with the tofu. This causes an argument between her and Ayane, and by accident, Ayane falls onto the tofu. Surprisingly, she likes the taste and starts eating it all, making Suzu happy. When Suzu goes to talk to Akuto, she realizes he's not in the house. She goes outside to look for him and finds the notebook he left behind. When she picks it up, a photo falls out. Ayane tells Suzu it must be a photo of his previous girlfriend, and starts imagining a story where Akuto leaves that girl for her. Suzu and Ayane find Akuto looking at the ocean, and Ayane suggests that Suzu should let him miss his old girlfriend for a while. Later, Suzu delivers the tofu to the elderly woman, who comments on how well she's done. Ayane arrives and explains the situation with the girlfriend, then excitedly rushes off to prepare her next move to win over Akuto. The elderly woman explains that Akuto is probably missing his family and friends by now. As they talk, Ren and Yukino, who had been spying on them, decide to try and win over Akuto, seeing him as vulnerable. After they leave, Chikage, who had also been hiding, appears. Suzu is then seen in an old dress, ready to seduce Akuto, but she's stopped by Ren, who has prepared food for him. Chikage also appears, dressed in a cat costume, and then Yukino shows up, wearing too much makeup, all trying to win over Akuto. The girls start running towards Suzu's house, but find he's not there. Instead, they see a note saying that Akuto went to the sea. Suzu reads the note, and not finding the photo she had with him, rushes off to the sea, thinking Akuto wants to leave the island. When she arrives, she sees him pushing his suitcase into the sea. She runs to stop him, and though she falls, she manages to stop him using some seaweed, pulling him back to the shore. Suzu starts hitting him while crying, asking if he really wants to see that girl so badly. The other girls appear, trying to cheer him up and win him over, telling him they will be his new love. Akuto was confused and asked what they meant, and Suzu explained that she thought the girl in the photo was his girlfriend. Akuto then tells her that the girl in the photo is his younger sister, Misaki, and that he wanted to send a letter across the sea to her. The girls get angry at Ayane for jumping to conclusions and not knowing the truth. Chikage reminds Akuto that he had been cooking something and was making Nigeria, a kind of dish for tofu. She explains that he had been looking at the sea because he was thinking about how to fix Suzu's tofu. The group decides to go back and finish the tofu for Tonkatsu's birthday. Meanwhile, Tonkatsu is still bored in the chicken coop. When Suzu arrives, she invites all the chickens to eat with her, and when everyone gathers, they surprise Tonkatsu for his birthday. The celebration begins, and everyone enjoys the moment. And that's all for this video. I hope you liked it. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button, and also don't forget to jingle that bell.